So guys, as the last game of the day starts, we have Dragonshire as our first map, and I guess, as you can already see with today's top supporter at the bottom, if PayPal is not lying to me, that is not a troll as I suspected the entire time. That's actually true. So also here on stream for the VOD, again, a big shout out to Stack, which is kind of insane. Thank you, dude, and you're crazy, which you probably at this point already know, because I said it a couple of times. The draft, on the other hand, is still currently proceeding, and we have CLG versus the Chips. It is the loser bracket semi-final. We're seeing Illidan banned out immediately, and also a ban on Falstad. So Dragonshire, of course, a map where especially mobility is very important. You have to have good coordination between like all of the shrines that you're trying to go for. You need to capture 2 points and then get the Dragon Knight. The Haka and Falstad are oftentimes picked on this map because of their ability to have the global presence, which is something that they are trying to use right now. And it's actually the reason why CLG is going for an immediate pick on the Haka. They combine it with a Thrall at this point, which actually gives them a great top laner now as well. And that's huge for them because they have Thrall at the top lane. They have the Haka in a position where he can go into those brushes and just like trying to just like move in and get a kill there. So there's a lot of gank potential already for CLG, whereas the Chips are basically playing the setup that we've seen the Evil Murkies play in most of the games right now. They are rocking the Sonya with the Tacita. We're having at the same time now also the Kel'Thas taken. And Kel'Thas in this case is of course still pretty amazing thanks to the damage output that he has, which is kind of insane. I mean, that guy is a badass. We have seen that in all of the games so far already. He has sick damage output. He has also a lot of lockdown with the gravity lapse as is, which is always a huge asset to the team. And CLG, they are getting rid of ETC first of all. I mean, imagine ETC going for a good mosh pit with a double support. You already lean towards a Rhaegar or an Uther, but if there's an Uther and then the Divine Shield on the ETC or the Sonya, you get a mosh pit off. Kel'Thas is going to get the damage in. It's a disaster for your team. So it's a decent ban here for CLG. One of the utility tanks already gone. The Chips taking away Johanna now, which is probably going to lead in a Muradin being picked up by CLG right now, since it would be a great hero to combine with the Haka. A lot of CCs there already, which at the same time already secures also that they only have one backline damage dealer, which is going to be a pretty huge deal, since that hero needs to do a lot of work. It could be Li Ming here. Li Ming on this map is pretty good. We talked about CLG also loving to play their Stitches and their Li Ming, so I would at least assume that Li Ming is going to be picked here. But I can definitely see them go into maybe a Stitches then over a Muradin later on as well. And I guess that's currently also what they're thinking about. Because the question that you have to answer at this point is Muradin important enough for you? Like, think about it. They need a tank, but they also want to take their priority pick in healer. So they can, for example, decide that they want to deny the Rhaegar to the Chips. If they pick him and they go for the smoke double play, that would be great. But they go for that Stitches that I just pointed out first of all, and that puts them in a situation where they really have to think, okay, are we going to go for the Li Ming at this point? I feel they can let her go, since the Chips, they still need a second tank. They need a second tank, besides Sonya, and a support. So I really think that CLG can go for the healer of their choice right now. I think that is something that would be a little bit better for them, because they can still pick up the Li Ming or whatever hero they choose to go for as the range damage dealer. Could be a Vala, for example. On their last pick, the chances that the Chips are picking that away are slim to none, so I feel it's really a healer decision at this point. And I like Rhaegar. Rhaegar denying him to Sonya is great. Lunara, again, I like a good damage dealer, but I don't think they have to go for it now. Tacita solo support, I just don't see it happen. With them securing Lunara right now, they force the Chips to go into double support for sure, but even without it, I feel it would have been a very smart choice. So the Chips will have their pick in healers. They go for Rhaegar. I think CLG had an opportunity to pick Rhaegar away and go for Lunara or Li Ming on the last pick. Lunara overall, I like her a lot with Stitches, Pyrrhic Bile going into the unfair advantage is pretty cool. We might not even see Uther. They go Charism instead, and I like it. With the Haka, Thrall, and Stitches at the front line, Charism is going to give a lot of value to you. The one argument against Charism is Kel'Thas. Kel'Thas with the Living Bomb spreading is one of the reasons why you might not want to go into Charism. A lot of Charism players make the argument that they're going to be fine, that they have the positioning that's good enough, but it seems like CLG is saying, like, guys, let's be on the safe side here, pick that Malfurion instead, play it with him, and try to just like negate a lot, as much of like the AoE damage that we have from Kel'Thas as humanly possible. So the choice away from Charism into Malfurion, I like it because it offers a little bit more utility to the team now too, with the root after Stitch's hook, so that's pretty cool as well. But a very solid draft here for game number 1. Dragonshire is kicking us off with our best of 3 series here in the loser bracket semifinal. So guys, let's jump in right away and find out which team is going to take the lead. Game number 1, everybody. We are looking at the loser bracket semi-final. And this is also a series that is going to decide the fate of these two teams, because right now the Casuals and Chips are fighting for a participation spot at Dreamhack Tour. The loser is going to be out of the tournament. The winner is going to qualify for the offline finals. And I'm very curious to see how exactly these two teams are going to measure up against each other right now. To the left side of the map, we have Shiku for the Polish team. And he's playing the Thrall for the Casuals here. Nika on Lunara, Kreko on Stitches, Leo from Korea on Malfurion, and Juf on Tehaka Shakalaka. To the right side of the map, their opponent, it's the Chips. After losing in the winner bracket semi-final against their opponent, they are now giving a second chance in the bottom here. Remaballer on Sonya, Holo on Kel'Thas, Linked on Rhaegar, Neon on Tacita, and Crisplosion on the Muradin. AntiHero is taking a quick break for the first map. He's probably going to join me on the second one, but for now we're going to run the show solo. And as we are seeing with the level 1 talents, we have again a bit of a focus here on especially on the top lane with Block taken. Block is a really important talent, especially in the earlier stages of the game, and it has of course been buffed by Blizzard just recently, a couple of patches ago. Very important here to win the lane as well. If, for example, Thrall would have gone for the Lightning talent instead, his chances of winning against Sonya would have definitely been diminished quite a bit. Tehaka is going to be a huge deal in this game right now, because he has a global mobility that we are just seeing lacking on the side of the Chips. They have a bit of a problem in that, and Tehaka can position at the bot lane, always go for a quick jump to the top when Thrall feels like he can get a kill against Sonya. So there's always a huge problem with the Chips trying to find out where exactly Juf is positioning himself. Drag already being used, the Tong against Linked, and Nika is trying to capitalize on it for the damage. And Nika, in combo with Stitches on his Lunara, is going to do a lot of damage later on in the game, just simply because he can use the unfair advantage, which basically gives you bonus damage once their targets or once the heroes are slowed. And one of the things that's really important with this is, of course, when we have the Putrid Bile coming into play. When we're looking at the bot lane, we have Juf in trouble, and Tehaka is taken out already. So we have him with a primal aggression here, but he's also the first victim of the game. Good start now for the Chips. And the shrines are of course spawning, which allows both of the teams now to get the control over one of them. The problem for Shiku is that he's trying to soak this lane, but at the same time he has to claim also the top shrine to make sure that no Dragonite is taken this early in the game. So he's going to miss out on a little bit of experience, but Juf already jumping into the bush now, trying to take the Sonya down. That didn't really work too well for them. But we have, at this point, still the bot lane to be contested over. It's an even trade in shrines at this point. Rotations on this map are incredibly important, though. We've been talking about this already a bit earlier. And in this case right now, we are seeing once more level 4 talents on both sides. We are now, especially on the side of Tacita, we are seeing the Leeching Plasma. Sonya is going to be quite happy about that. It's going to try and capitalize on it. Went on level 4 now into the focused attack. Shiku with very nice dodge at the top lane, where Crisplosion and Holo were trying to lock him down long enough so that Remaballer can dish the damage out. Didn't really work too well for them, but it's an exchange in shrines. The bot lane rotation has happened now. We're seeing Casuals in position to take the bottom shrine. At the top, on the other hand, of course, the Chips have taken over. Thrall not dying was a big part here, but Shiku is actually far out right now, still trying to juke them out a little bit, doing a very nice job, but it's just not good enough to survive here. So a very good kill now on the side of the Chips, and that's the second kill for them. They start things off with a double kill here early on in the game. We have still the bottom shrine taken. Juf is there on his Tehaka, and especially as the game continues, Tehaka's global presence is going to be very important. When we're having the death timers increasing, then this is going to give you a lot of value. Nika, of course, as the only ranged hero in the team, or the only ranged damage dealer, is also going to have a huge, he has really a huge responsibility, I want to say. There's a lot of pressure on his shoulders. Already, Loon's Grace taken from Malfurion, who's of course going to try in this double support situation to add a little bit more utility to the team. And that's especially going to help once that Kreko is starting to hit his hooks, so that they can get the roots after that. Ideally, of course, even with the Haka moving in, who went, by the way, into the Hero Stalker, so already trying to go for a bit more of an aggressive fight style. Leo can also, with Elun's Grace, now Moonfire away against potential channels on the Dragonite, which is another really important tool for him to have, since already Tacita is starting to make moves in there. Leo not using Moonfire! Oh, and that is the Dragonite for the team. Leo still dying, maybe? Oh my god, got close. Very close. Both of the teams on level 7 right now. The Dragonite hammering away at the towers. First one down, second one about to fall. Bit of an experience lead that they get because of that. The Chips definitely showcasing that they might be a newer team, but these boys, they know how to play the game. And for CLG, it's a bit of a test there. They already had a very rough time against My Insanity in the winner bracket, dropped to the loser bracket where they had to face the Sandwich Monkeys in the first round and were able to take them out. But right now they're going up against the Chips, who were dropped into the losers bracket semi-final by the Evil Murkies, who already claimed their spot for Dreamhack Tour. So the Dragonite giving quite a bit of value to the red team. They get an entire level lead out of this. We're still having Nika and Shiko trying to drop him in hit points, but Remaballer is setting up a slight flank here. Probably not really going to get a lot out of this one, but still an opportunity for them to maybe secure another kill. Already the rotation is happening towards the camps. Siege Giants are there. They're trying to claim that. We have also Enduring Growth taken now on the side of Malfurion, so the heals for him. Wild Vigor. We're talking a bit about this talent already. There's of course always the opportunity for you to go straight into the unfair, sorry, not the unfair advantage, but of course the Nature's Culling. In this case, on this map in particular, I really like the Wild Vigor on the other hand, so that's working out for them. Teams are both claiming now the Siege Giant camp. It's actually one of the reasons why we oftentimes have such a huge focus on the bot lane. The normal setup for this lane is either a 1-1-3, where you have 3 heroes in the early stages of the bot lane, or it's a rotation between the middle and the bottom on the map with 4 heroes. And the reason for that is to a pretty big extent that you are trying to get control or access to those 2 Siege Giant camps. So if you control the bot lane completely and win that fight, then you have an easier time claiming the Siege Giants and really put pressure on the lanes. In this case, we have the early level 10 dropping for the Chips, and that leaves us with Muradin going into Avatar. Ancestral Healing has been used. Tasla is also there, of course, with another Force Wall. We're having Phoenix plus Wrath of the Berserker. And still a bit of a lead. I mean, they can't really capitalize on it too much. There's no Dragonite or anything up. They could try and force a bit of a fight, but at this point they are completely happy with just pushing the lanes back. They claimed the Bruiser camp already earlier and have now a chance to just like push the top lane in a bit. But the level 10 is going to hit eventually for CLG, and that will allow them to go into a fight on eye level once that the next objective is up, which is actually exactly what we're seeing right now. So we have in this case already Isolation, we have Tranquility, we have Sundering, we have also like the Thornwood Vines, and we are seeing the Putrid Bile. And this is really where Lunara is all of a sudden starting to get a bit of an edge, because she can go into the unfair advantage on 13, and then she can really capitalize on a lot of the talents and the synergy that we have for them. Nice sneak in up to the bot lane here, and they get the camp. Now, of course, they know also about the position. The Haka is already on the temple. Yeah, Thrall is at the top. It's a 4 versus 4 down here, and they're starting to jump in. The hook is hitting Neon, but he gets away. Tassadar not quite on his unkillable status just yet, but he's really working towards it. We have both of those shrines now claimed by the blue team, but already at the bottom, Link is making sure that there's no Dragonite for the casuals, at least not at this point. At the top of the map, we're seeing Remaballer in a position against Shiko. This is basically like what we've seen in the entire early game, just like Thrall and Sonya going up against each other. And, well, for now, of course, it's just all about the team fights once again. It's like the most important map when it comes to rotations, and here is the play that we've been talking about earlier. Juve trying to go for an assist. Shiko, on the other hand, is in a lot of trouble, but the Sundering is there. Juve wants the kill. But the Haka is more of a utility tank than anything else, and well, he can go for the Tong and go for the drag here. The problem is if they don't have a damage dealer next to them, they're going to have a pretty tough time. Yeah, Muradin has to jump out, dodges the hook as well. They're starting to move away. At the bot lane, we've seen a bit of pressure against Holo, who barely was able to escape here. He went into Mana Tap and fell in Fusion with Gravity Crush as the level 7 talent. But all of the teams are really struggling right now to gain control over the shrines, denying Dragonites to the opponent. It's still a lead in experience for the red team, and that will result eventually in them hitting level 13, which is of course a great asset if you're trying to go into a team fight. And once that you have that slight advantage, you can really try and run that against your opponent and take them down here. Especially since we're having some really important talents kicking in, with survivability being prioritized on the side of Tassadar, who will go into Prescience. We have also, of course, the Mystical Spear. Most likely, should be Mystical Spear here for Sonya. Yeah, she goes for it, and that is going to help her with mobility on the map quite a lot. Another attempt to go into the Dragonite, and this is a much better chance now for Chips than we've seen before. Dragonite is taken, the level 13 advantage has been capitalized upon. That is really working well, and they can, of course, once again now move down to the bot lane and drop a couple of structures. That Dragonite is going to do so much work here. A cool thing about the Dragonite, which was changed like I think 2 patches ago, is that the keeps and forts still slow his movement down, but not the attack speed any longer. So if you're not like accompanied by a creep wave, by a minion wave, You're still in a situation where it takes you a little bit longer to reach the keep or the fort, but you can then hammer away and get a lot of damage in. And that was a really important change. I feel it was a really nice quality of life change for everybody that was using the Dragonite as well. Stitches still with the Slam build, by the way, and we're having a bit of a focus now on the Wind Fury builds, especially with Wind Cheer taken on level 4, going for the cooldown reduction, having the Grace of Air, and the Tempest Fury then coming in on level 30 or level 16 most likely. Interestingly enough, Lunara, by the way, going into Giant Killer over the potential unfair advantage, which I would have liked actually a lot with the Putrid Ballast Rogue ability on Krakus Stitches, but she wants to go for the extra damage against Mirrodin at this point. So of course quite a bit of damage output that you can get with it. Giant Killer can be really nice if you go for the attack speed talents, and later on you can really pressure that out. But it's not really what I expected, seeing the combo between Lunara and Stitches here. Again, the Tong being used, the attempt to lock him down with the root. Sundering is a bit too late already. Rega is using the Ancestral and gets healed. Here comes Remabola, tries to go for the kill. 2 kills against 0 so far in the game. We have Malfurion using his Tranquility immediately. The drag against Remabola once more, but he is already in Wrath of Berserker form, so not really taking that too long. Nice fight potential there, but just look at the experience once again. Even with the towers taken, with all of those towers and the experience claimed, we have both of the teams very even in experience. It's only slightly that we are seeing now for the red team, but the Chips are so far doing pretty well. They haven't lost a hero yet. It's 2 against 0 kills. We're seeing at the same time Nika now in position where he's of course trying to just like capitalize on that potential damage output. There's a lot of heroes at the front line that peel for him, so he more or less can do in those fights whatever he wants, unless of course he's getting hit by a hook. But you can really see it in the damage output already. He's at 15,000. Thrall is topping that for now. That's going to change eventually. We have Kalthar still with 24k, which is going to be really important as well. And when we're talking about like siege damage, Tacita, of course, with the Storms is doing a very solid job. 88,000 already in siege damage, doing a very nice job with this. Of course, there's also a few more things that cater into this, like objectives, but still, the output here is pretty nice for them. Especially when it comes to like the hero damage, that Kalthas is something that we have to watch out for though, because he's just going to increase that by a lot. Especially now with Sun King's Fury, it's going to be a great talent for them. Synergy with the Earthgrass Totem and the Colossal Totem as the level 1 talent is also quite remarkable right now, and it's going to help them a lot to lock targets down. And yeah, Dehaka trying to get value for the team now. He's of course one of the heroes that can go for great split pushing, and the problem is that Shihu is also with him. So we have 2 heroes pushing the top lane, but that puts the bottom lane into a 5 versus 3 situation, and that is a little bit unfortunate right now for the casuals. So they lose another ball here. They're going to lose that tower as well. Maybe not. Might be able to just barely save that. It's going to be a close call though. But we have already 1 shrine claimed now at the bottom. 16 versus 16 now in talents, so that's finally a chance for them to go into the invigorating spores. Attack speed increase, and that's really where Giant Killer comes into play again. So if you combine those 2 talents, you are able to put a lot more pressure onto Mirrodin in particular. And Mirrodin is already attempting to go for a deny against the Dragonite. He's claiming the top shrine right now. Tacita was in the middle of the map, just making sure that he could use that. Here's Prassians. There's still a wall there. He's not gonna die. He's gonna get away, easy peasy. And this is of course also a big advantage that they have. If they can claim the wall here, they're always in a position where they can safely retreat. The fight against Juf, on the other hand, that puts him into trouble, using his trade already to heal himself up. Nika also keeping himself in the back now with the 3 frontliners. Hook against Tacita again. Crisplosion moving away. Oh my god, what a beautiful Stormball, and the follow-up is immediately there. Really well played, and that is kill number 3 now on the side of the Chips. They're playing a very solid game here. And I guess at this point, the casuals have to really rethink how they approach this game now, because this is not a pushover team that they are facing right now. Kalthas might be falling though, gets healed and barely kept alive here. It was a close call, but the kill against Thrall is happening, and that's exactly what they need. They cannot get access to the top shrine once again. Dehaka dead, Thrall dead. Once Dehaka is back, they might be able to use him to move to the bot lane and claim a shrine, but the problem is that everybody is already meeting up in the middle of the map to get another Dragonite. That would be the 3rd one for the Chips, and they are simply channeling that through a Neon. So he's going to increase his siege damage quite exponentially at this point right now, and they are going to claim more structures. The fort is definitely going to fall. There's absolutely no way to save that. Already Neon going for the NFL tryouts here. He wants to play big football. I mean, right now American football punts are pretty strong on his part. If he can get a few more of those in, and there's a scout in the audience, and he might actually even get a contract. At the bot lane, we have the split push happening, with Holo now moving in. They want to keep, they really do. It's 1.5 level lead, but it's something where basically the casuals are simply just saying, nah, not gonna happen, guys, not gonna happen. The problem with the Dragonite right now is you really don't want to go to the top lane, into the bridge of death. So it's rather the mid lane that you're trying to go for. Nice heal! After that isolation, we are seeing now Holo healed again. Dragonite comes in. Uh-oh, the kill against Stitches. And yeah, Burrow is gonna save you for a few seconds, but I'm sorry, Juve, you are not gonna survive that slaughter either. 19 and a bit in experience versus level 17. Neon and his boys, they want to have a keep. 10 more seconds on the Dragonite, and he's hammering away with that big battle axe of his, trying to drop the HP here, and indeed he does. That's keep number 1. Nice timing on the DK now too. And that, of course, is now kill number 5 and number 6 for the Chips. And, well, it's 6 kills against 0. Not a single kill for the casuals. And, yeah... at this point, if the casuals are starting to make a bit of a comeback, they might have to rename their team. Currently, Casual Logic Gaming, they might have to rename themselves into Filthy Casuals, because at this point they are getting schooled by the Chips, and that must feel a bit bad, man. But right now, the problem, of course, for them is really that they just don't get any traction in the game. I really feel that they could have gotten a little bit more out of their Haka. The Haka with a global presence is a huge asset, and I don't really think they capitalized on it to an extent that they should have. They should have maybe put a bit more pressure on Sonya at the top, trying to use the Haka and Thrall to just pressure her, jump back down, get a bit of experience right now. And when we're looking at experience, for example, the Haka, of course, is still... He's not even the most, like, he's not even the hero with most XP. 10,000 of Thrall, and that's not really what you would expect to see here. He's not really getting the value for the team that they were hoping for when they went for the pick. Leo already has to commit to the Tranquility tool cooldown, which is another big problem. We're seeing Kel'Thas at this point with Master of Flames. And guys, this is a great talent right now. Look at how melee heavy they are. They have 3 melees at the front line, and this is just going to spread those living bombs 6 days to Sunday. It's going to be an amazing damage output for him. The 20s are strong. We have a double Storm Shield now as well. Double Hardened Shield. There's so much sustain at their side for now. And if you look at the damage output, 43,000 already for Kel'Thas. The only hero who even challenges that, actually surpasses him even, is Lunara. That was to be expected. I mean, she is a beast. And with her pressure play against Mirrodin, as of course also. This is kind of something that you would really expect when you're in a situation where she can just like drop that giant killer over and over and over again. So, besides that, we have at the top lane, Rema Baller getting in position. The problem really for the casuals is, of course, they have no level 20 talent. And that's a big deal here. They kind of want to... The problem is that another Dragonite is maybe not finishing the game, but at least going to take down another keep. And so far, they haven't even lost a fort. That's the first fort that's going to fall at the top lane here. And another Dragonite is going to be a huge asset to them. There's an entire level until level 20 is going to hit for the casuals. And once again, the chase is on. Here comes that lockdown attempt against Thrall. He's so slowed already thanks to Rhaegar and his totem. There's the kill. Dragonite could maybe even be snuck in, but nope, everybody is at the bot lane right now. And they are trying to go for it at this point. I mean, they are just like trying to jump in here. We're seeing Neon being rather low, but he should be able to escape. They go for the shrines again. Dehaka is there trying to see if he can maybe get a kill, but the answer to that question is no. At the top lane, there's still a camp pushing in. They didn't even lose the fort, by the way. Like, even this one, it survived. I mean, just barely, of course, but still it did. Down here, Linked is in position. Thrall is down. You need to be really careful. If they overextend... Oh, God, they get back. Oh, and yeah, Stitches, goodbye, buddy. That Ragdoll gets just kicked away by Crisplosion. He's stomping all over it. And in the meantime, Tacita is claiming Shrine number 2. The camp is still pushing the top lane. There's Juve right now trying to delay the inevitable, but the rotation is going to head his way. At the bot lane, Malfurion's going to try and make some plays. The casuals are desperate. They're really desperate. They're currently trying to somehow deny that, but again the rotation is there. And even with the Tranquility, he dies. Top lane pressure against Juve right now. And of course, already some of the heroes are orientating themselves towards the middle of the map where they are attempting to claim another Dragonite. And that could be the downfall of Casual Logic Gaming in the first game here. On the first map, situation is pretty dire for them. The Dragonite has been captured. We are still seeing Juve being attacked here. He's trying to escape and will do so eventually, but the Dragonite is already moving straight down to the middle, down to the bottom of the map, because they still see that death timer on Malfurion saying like, boys, you're not going to do anything without those heals against us. If you try to fight, we're just going to take you down. And that's exactly what's happening here. Once again, the punt is being used. There's already the Phoenix dropped, trying to zone. Not really getting any value for the team, to be honest with you, but it doesn't matter because that Dragonite is just taking down the core, and this is game number 1 in favor of Team Chips. Very well played here. They take the lead in the best of 3 series here in the loser bracket semifinal. Alright, boys and girls, game number 2 coming up now. Infernal Shrines and CLG, as I said before, they have to step it up a little bit because the last game was bad, is probably the word that I'm looking for here. Didn't really work too well for them. Their combo had no real impact and the Chips just took them down. Infernal Shrines is game number 2 and everything is on the line right now for CLG. They picked their Sonya early on. We have an Illidan ban versus a Kel'Thas ban, and as already called in the first map, AntiHero, after having some food, is with me now again for game number 2.
Yeah, so we see the pick on Sonya here, denying kind of that Sonya Tassadar kind of style for the for Team Chips, which we saw by them, I believe, once earlier, but also kind of getting the Tassadar away from CLG, which also used that Tassadar Sonya setup quite a bit yesterday already in the pre-qualifier. So quite a good draft decision by Chips here to take it away, first of all. And I would like to see them picking maybe up the Falstad here since he's open. He would make a kind of nice impression to me.
I'm really curious to see what kind of draft we are seeing. I mean, we already talked a little bit, and you touched upon it now as well, with like Sonya, Tassadar, the entire dynamic that we have between these double supports, especially with Tassadar and the melee assassin. The Chips with a very high priority here on Li Ming. Personally, I don't really like it too much on the map, but then again, Kel'Thas is already banned out, and we know that CLG, they really like to play the hero, so I feel it's not only a pick trying to snipe targets away, but also picking something away from CLG, who are very likely, by the way, to go into their stitches again, I assume. But right now, the Chips have impressed me in the last match, I have to admit. Like, the last map was very strong on their part. They played well against the Evil Murkies, who are gaining a lot of momentum these days. I mean, Evil Murkies have been around for a long, long time, but I feel like in the last couple of weeks they really stepped it up a notch, and they already qualified for Dreamhack Tour. The Chips only need one more map win, and kind of as expected, Stitches already being hovered over now.
Yeah, Stitches was kind of their comfort pick yesterday already, and Li Ming, as you said, sometimes it's really weird on that map with the skeletal defenders basically in your way for your spells, so it's kind of a pick against Nika, which you said hero already in Leicester quite effectively. So they're going into the Stitches now. I would like to see them maybe pick up the Rega already so it doesn't get banned in the next rotation, or maybe even getting picked up by Chips there, depending if, let's say, another melee assassin like Thrall is open. So I would like them to either pick... They could also go into the Sylvanas here, but I don't think it's a really high priority for them right now. I feel like they can get away with just getting the Rega here and maybe go into Sylvanas later, which we have already seen by them yesterday already on this map, to great success even.
It's definitely true. Like, Sylvanas is a great pick for CLG. They played it on several maps, and now they have the chance to do it again on Infernal Shrines, which they already, as you pointed out, they did before. They have a few choices to make here. I totally agree with you. They have, of course, that Rega available. There's a Sylvanas as well. They have also... and
there it is.
Yeah, Sylvanas is being played again. So they are aiming once more of controlling the objective and trying to push and snowball a bit with the Punisher, which is, of course, something that you can do on Infernal Shrines. I'm a bit curious to see how Chips is going to try and deny that to them. I feel a ban that we kind of have to see for CLG is Thrall, though. What do you think?
Yeah, I would like, first of all, Chips to ban out the Rega. They ban out the ETC. I haven't seen CLG playing a hard double tank lineup yesterday, and banning ETC here doesn't really feel right. Picking ETC Stitches and Sonya with Sylvanas is low damage output. I don't really like that setup too much. Maybe a Murden would be better already with that, but I'm not sure. I dislike the ETC ban here. I would definitely take away the Rega. And the bans on the other side for CLG, I would really like them to ban away the Thrall, as you already mentioned, and they are going to, since it's the other melee assassin available, and they don't want to give up the double green Jesus double smog combo with Rega and Thrall against them.
I, by the way, completely agree with you on the ETC ban. I don't really understand what exactly they're trying to achieve with that. The chances of CLG playing Stitches, Sonya, ETC, and Sylvanas as the only range damage is like slim to none, I'd say. It feels really like they are very, very afraid of an ETC mosh pit. Maybe looking at the game right now and saying like, okay, guys, what is the chance that we lose this game, and they think, hey, if we're calling it in a mosh pit, it feels a little bit odd still, but they decide to go for the ETC ban. I like Diablo. We've been talking a lot about Diablo and Infernal Shrines. It would be a good pick here for Chips, but I feel if you pick Diablo, you have to put someone else to his side. I'm not really a massive fan of playing a Diablo without a Thrall, without anybody at his side. It's a bit obvious that they would go into Rhaegar here. You already talked about it quite a bit, and I like the pick. I feel in their setup, they could really maybe even put a Leoric in, which is not usually a hero that I'm a massive fan of right now in the current meta, but we've seen him used by My Insanity a bit earlier today, and it worked for them. He has decent damage, he can also help you with the objective. Diablo needs someone at his side, even with a double support, I would prefer that. Diablo himself, of course, great to punish heroes that are trying to just like go in through the choke points at the shrines. Overall, a good start. CLG with their own heals right now, but I still feel they need a little bit more damage on this.
It kind of surprises me as well. None of the teams did prioritize Dehaka or Falstad here. That's really surprising to me. I would have liked to see. I know that the team, like let's say Team Liquid with Shat, would have probably picked the Vikings here already, with maybe another Falstad pick. So that would have kind of made a lot of sense to me as well. But it kind of depends on which players you have. If you have like the guy which prefers Vala over Falstad, or if you have a guy which plays the Lost Vikings at all, and we see them with a more standard approach with the Vala and Karazim here.
I'm really interested in that last pick. I mean, as I said, Leoric might fit here. The question is always, do you really have the damage if you go for him? They have a Li Ming, which is pretty nice. They have Tassadar for a bit of AoE damage too. They might actually find themselves in a situation where they are forced more or less to play Diablo as the solo frontliner with the Tassadar and Rhaegar to try and support him. Zul is actually, I actually like that. I would like that quite a bit, because that's a pretty good... I didn't even think about it, didn't even cross my mind, but I would say that's a pretty solid pick for them.
We have seen Xul rarely in the recent tournaments, and man, I have missed that guy. He's pretty strong on that map as well.
And he's ripped.
Yeah, he's really good on that map, so I would have liked to seen Xul pick maybe earlier already, but since both teams don't really prioritize that, it's really fine to pick it that late, and it kind of supplies them with another, let's say, semi-frontliner. And with the Tassadar and Rhaegar's double support, I think they're just fine with their frontline, but they still have to care that they don't really get hooked by Stitches, and that Sonya doesn't really do the DPS she can do against Xul here.
What I kind of like about Zul as well is also that he can really go for that split push a little bit. So you don't run into the situation again where only Sylvanas can supply that to a team. So it's a bit of a counterplay there. I think it's a smart pick here on the last one. I was really struggling a bit to find a hero that would cater towards that niche that they need, but that really feels right. CLG versus Chips, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 2 coming up right now. Infernal Shrines is the map. Let's see what the casuals can do here against Chips, or if Chips are already going to get that ticket in this game against, for Dreamhack Tour, of course. So let's jump straight in to Infernal Shrines. Game number 2 and potentially the last map of the series. The casuals are going up against Chips, and to the left side of the map here on Infernal Shrines we have the casuals with Shichu on Sonya, Leo from Poland on Karazim, Zhuf on Stitches, Nika on Sylvanas, and Kreku on Vala. And to the right side of the map currently, Remabola playing Tassadar for his team. For the Chips we have Linked on Rhaegar, Neon on Li Ming, Crisplosion on Diablo, and Holo is playing Zul. As already promised in the last game, AntiHero is back to business, had some food and is now eager to cast the next match here, and potentially, of course, also the last game of the series, with interesting talents already coming into play, which already cater a bit to that Sylvanas style where you try to control the objective of the map and then just simply push the opponent into oblivion with a Punisher.
Yeah, also interesting to note here that Stitch is the one talent with Hungry for More. On this map, you can get a lot of globes with rotating between the middle and the bot lane. It's not the best rotation, but it's still a quite possible one if you're fast enough. So maybe they're thinking, yeah, we're not too fast enough, or we want to go for the more solid early game sustain with Stitches here. Also, Block on Diablo, kind of a talent which we didn't really see a lot the last patches, but with especially the buff recently, we see it quite a bit now, and it makes sense against the enemy composition. position with Vala, Sonya and Sylvanas here.
Yeah, not only that, I feel like I mean, usually he's the only tank, right? So I guess defensive talents, no matter what, make a lot of sense for him right now. To just make sure that he's not going to be focused down immediately. But overall, I like that we have Zul in the game now. This is a comp, a very similar comp to what CLG already played in one of the games yesterday, where they were able to just control the flow of the game and snowball it. So that's something that, of course, the Chips are going to try and avoid. And they impressed in the first map quite a bit. Diablo with a close call against Nika there. That could have backfired for Sylvanas, but she's still able to get the damage out. Went on level 1 for paralysis, which we talked about already a little bit. Lightning Bond has been taken for Rhaegar, and we've been touching upon that subject for quite a long time already. If you go for one of those Infernal Shrine fights, then having the double Lightning Shield helps you a lot.
Yeah, you can gather those skeletons quite quickly, and overall, the red side team, that is the Chips, they have a lot of wave clear for the shrine itself. They do have Tassadar, they do have the Rhaegar, they do have the Diablo and the Xu, which are 4 heroes which can heavily do the AoE damage on the shrine. Looking at the side of the casuals here, they do have Stitches. He didn't went into Slam Bit, so definitely a little bit less AoE, but they do have Sylvanas, Vala and Sonya doing a lot for the clearing of the skeletons.
Interesting strategy, by the way, now. Zul is doing what we oftentimes see, ignoring the first shrine and instead pushing through. Normally, I would say perfect decision making, but at the same time, if you get a Punisher, even an early one, with the Sylvanas, it's a completely different story. Zul, therefore, starting to make his way back down. Oh my god, Chrisplosion nearly surviving that, but great kill by CLG. Polo is finally arriving at the bottom of the map, but they are about to lose the Punisher now, because that was just a little bit too much for them to handle. With the level 4 talents here, we're seeing both of the teams going into very standard builds. Sylvanas in this case going for With the Wind, maybe the one talent that we should really talk about. But of course now the Sylvana train is once again hitting the structures hard. And yeah, so far not really working out for the Chips.
Yeah, it's interesting to know that the team of the Chips, they wanted to give up the Punisher, it seemed like, but then they still went for it in the end, when already 20 skeletons were gone to the other side. And thinking about the lineup of the casuals here, they do have a Sonya, and who is really taking down Sonya for now in the enemy team? Li Ming doesn't have her power at the moment. She doesn't have the Seeker or the Calamity, what build she will go for at level 7 we will see. And Xul is also not really good at bursting down Sonya or anything, so Sonya having really reigned supreme over that last fight, especially here.
Yeah, and also now that Sylvanas value once again, I mean, hashtag wrecked right there. That fort is gone at the bot lane, level 7 talents already in play. They are a level ahead after this. They took down the entire bot lane fort plus the rest of the surrounding structures. And it was like an easy pick. I mean, it was the first Punisher in the game. We're only like 3 or 4 minutes in. That was, of course, Sylvanas' value, and the Arcane Punisher helped on top of that. But that's a massive lead that we are currently seeing for CLG. And the casuals, they're really going to try and carry this towards the late game. It's a very tricky situation for Chips, and a very uncomfortable one at that.
Yeah, also taking the easy camp right now and going with the easy camp to pressure the mid lane turrets and getting another wall, only securing them more and more XP over time here. Sylvana's really getting used to her strength. They're really not trying to fight right now too much. They just want to push the structures, maybe get like a level lead, and then go for the next structures. Both hard camps are going to be taken soon, and I feel like the later you take the hard camp, the better it is for the team of the casuals here, just to clear the other camp, hard camp fast, and then maybe go into the next shrine situation where your hard camp can reign supreme over the lane.
It's a lot of pressure at the top lane though, because Zul already took down the entire wall, or at least like the wave, sorry, and the wall is now already suffering. Both of the towers are gone. It helps them to close the gap a little bit. The important part is really that the next shrine is going to be fought over on even talent. So that's definitely something that they can rely upon right now. I'm a little bit afraid for the Chips though if they lose this Punisher. If they lose the Punisher right now, and with Sylvanas they're getting pressured again, I don't see them recover anytime soon if that happens.
Yeah, if the team of Chips loses this Punisher, they will basically find themselves in a downward spiral here, and it can be really frustrating to play against Sylvanas, especially when you're behind, because you cannot really engage against Sylvanas, but you do have to against her pushing power. So with the Punisher on top of that, you're kind of struggling a little bit.
9.5, they need to make that play. If level 10 hits, then it's over, at least for this one, and that would mean another fort for sure. So at this point, are they really going to go for a fight and force it, or are they really just going to sit there, play the poke game, and then lose it eventually, which is exactly what's going to happen if they don't commit. They're trying to commit right now. Kreku, it's 37 of the minions already. Punisher has been taken. Oh, Crisplosion getting away, or does he? I'm actually not quite sure if he even can. Sonya is missing the spear, so he's able to escape for now. But look at those levels. Level 10, once that the tower falls, there it is. And now with Sylvanas, they can push this in. That's another 4 that's going to be eliminated. Might even be more than that. This is a catastrophe on the side of Chips right now. I mean, CLG is again running a composition that they're very comfortable with. They're running that Sylvanas comp that we have seen them play several times right now. And they are completely stomping the Chips this early in the game.
Yeah, and also the failure to get the Punisher inside the wall, giving the Punisher unnecessary extra value here. And Li Ming, by the way, went into the Calamity trying to go for that extra, let's call it secure damage against Sonya to burst it down even quicker. And they really have to burst Sonya down unless they want to lose the fights. So it's kind of a hard way of coming back right now. And they went for the Apocalypse, a talent which we haven't seen today at all. They really want to try to go for that lockdown, try to burst one guy down to get Li Ming's resets going.
Shihu, he's gonna fall. Yeah, this time the lockdown is there. For a moment I really thought he would be able to escape now, but instead it's still the kill. It looked a little bit wonky for a second, but actually well played. A full man, 5-man rotation. They get the kill. That's exactly what they have to do. If they get a couple of picks, they might be able to get back. They lost too many structures already. They need to make some plays. If they can now in a 5 versus 4 situation on the map, take a couple of those structures down, that might be good for them. Karazim is going for the camp at the bot lane. I really don't like this decision, to be honest. He's taking ages to take the camp. Of course, he can easily do it, but he's wasting quite a bit of time where he could help the team out, and it puts them into a position where we saw Chips just pushing the top lane quite a bit. Could have even gone for the fort here, which they didn't do, but yeah, Karazim is taking very, very long to play in that camp.
Yeah, I think it was also an unnecessary risk of his team getting engaged without the support there. And I would have maybe liked Tassada's soak, but I would have liked maybe to go a little bit more aggressive with Diablo and his Apocalypse combo, where you just press your R, then use your Q and then flip him back into the Apocalypse itself. So I feel like they need to seize their chances, the Chips that is.
Yeah, the problem for them is really the next shrine now as well, because they are about to hit level 12, but guess what? Level 13 is about to be on the board for the casuals, and that means that once again they have a talent advantage going into a shrine fight, so that's a pretty big deal. That's the 13s already, Karazim with a Relentless. And yeah, the question at this point is of course how are you going to deal with it? Bruiser camp has been stolen away, so they have to de-push this one. We have on level Life Drain actually taken. Now, that is odd. I did not expect that at all. Neither did I expect Indigestion, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Indigestion, he feels like he doesn't really need the CC reduction. I feel like he should have picked it, to be honest, but he went for the Ratchling build, where you take the last spies on level 7 and try to spawn as many annoying creatures against Li Ming as possible to basically deny the skills of Li Ming. But I feel like going for a more standard approach with the Relentless could have also been a fine choice here.
To be honest with you, I mean, looking at the talents, you know, we have Apocalypse, alright? I would have definitely picked Relentless in that regard. We have seen the Ratchling build actually a few times already, but it was a few weeks ago. The one thing that I definitely want to give them is that they were able to close the gap in experience quite nicely. And they have a big push up at the top lane happening right now with the Bruiser camp on their own. There's level 13 versus level 13 talents. So as long as they don't suffer the loss of the keep here, it's going to be alright for them. They definitely make as much happen as they possibly can. That was a decent poison over as well, forcing the opponent back, buying some time where they can attack the Punisher now.
But Sylvanas really showcasing their strength again, and the Poison Nova was really nicely timed, so Sylvanas, they really wanted to just go back. The Poison Nova was already triggered. If it wasn't for the Poison Nova, I feel like the team, the casuals, would have maybe collapsed onto the keep. And talking about Life Drain again, Life Drain, it's good sustain on the shrine fights itself, because it really spreads a whole lot on that one.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, on the shrine fights, it definitely helps you. Still, I really feel like it's pretty impressive how the Chips are still able to stay in the game. I have to give them some credit for that, because the way this game has been going so far, with Punisher after Punisher being taken by the casuals and Sylvanas pushing that in, forts being lost at the middle, at the bottom, and everything else that has been happening, they actually stayed in the game and did not get completely stomped just yet. The early game was very, very rough for them, but they're still in it. They're one level behind, but they're doing whatever they can to just like get a bit of experience and fight to an extent where they might be able to finally go into a battle on the Shrine for a Punisher on even talents and then maybe win it. So they're really trying to play this as well as they can. So overall, I feel they're playing a pretty solid match given the circumstances here.
Yeah, the casuals are looking forward to get their level 16 anytime soon. The chips are 1.5 level away. They probably won't get it before the next shrine activates. So that's kind of a really bad situation again to be in, so they might give up the next Punisher. Depending on its spawning location of the temple, it might even result in getting a keep.
Yep.
If it's going to be towards the top, then the chips can be really lucky and just give that up for free and soak towards the 16 again. But it spawns towards the middle now, and the middle keep is already exposed, so
that would
it's gonna be a rough one.
Yep, if they give this one up, that would be keep. And that is a really difficult decision to make. Do you allow the opponent to take this one? They're gonna try and push the bot lane apparently. That's one of those moments where you have to be very careful how you defend, because if it's not only the Punisher moving in and starting to take the keep down, but if you lose the hero there for some reason, then all of a sudden we're not talking keep anymore, then we're talking core. So right now they're trying to get level 16. They have 15.5. I really feel they can't really go for the shrine right now. They were looking for a moment for a rotation up to the top, but they go for the fort at the bot lane instead. So they give the Punisher up. They take level 16 now, and with that they should be in a position where they can at least defend. They will lose a keep. Or are they even going for the fight here? It looks for a moment like they're actually trying to go for it. It's still 10 minions. They try to go for a battle. They're trying to get a kill here. Even if they lose a Punisher, as long as they can kill a hero, that would at least be a good start for them. I don't think that they can claim the Punisher as is. They really have to go deep for this one. And they're trying to go for Sonya. Already the damage output right there. The silence has been used. Rain of Vengeance. Explosion in trouble. The heal is there though. Link got hooked on the other hand. And he's still getting body blocked here on his Rhaegar. But the kill against Sonya, that was a really important one. If they can take Leo down now as well, that would be great. Leo is down. He hasn't even used the palm. Not for anybody. It's a triple kill for Chips. What is going on?
Oh, but the spread of Sylvanas securing the Punisher, and it looked like a kind of it reminded me of my Insanity earlier today, where they went behind by 39 of those skeletons and then aced the enemy lineup and got it 40 to 39. But this time Sylvanas just suicides to get the Punisher for free, and really nice comeback and really nice decision making by the Chips here to just wait and win the fight in the end.
That was really well done, and that Punisher is not getting anything done here. Great play by the Chips. They take a lead in experience as well. And I mean, the casuals have to be sitting in front of their PCs right now and just thinking like, what on earth did happen? Because that was not what they were hoping for. Sonya goes down, they nearly get the kill against Rhaegar after a very good hook, and then everybody is just dying. Palm hasn't even been used. That keep didn't get scratched, and now all of a sudden the game has been completely reset with a lead even for the Chips, and if they win, that is brutal for the casuals now.
The good thing for the casuals, if they might lose the next Punisher fight, they still have one middle fort, so it's not gonna spawn in the middle next, but I also don't think that they just can take down a keep when the wall is still up. So they're still in a structural lead here, but they're not pressuring as much as they did before, because they just lost the recent Punisher basically for nothing.
Great decision making by the Chips. I really, really like how they played it. I can't believe that fight went so well for them. But overall, they had to sacrifice a lot to get into this situation. A lot of teams would have tried to force a battle earlier with a talent disadvantage. They didn't do that. They get rewarded for it. Once again, we have a potential battle here. A lot of discipline actually on the side of the Chips. Oh, but the hook is good. Juve is there. Dashes away to the minion. Well done. Good job on Diablo's part, and they are able to escape for now. Still that lead in experience, and they are trying to fight on another shrine, but we have already the casuals trying to follow them. Juve with a hook, and this time he's dodged.
Nice sidestep by Explosion. They're dodging the hook in the end. A pick-off like that would really benefit the casuals for the next shrine fight. Just getting the better position next time, maybe fighting with a hero up at that time. But yeah, they're just looking for pickoffs now because they really don't see their chances otherwise.
Yeah, Zul is up at the top lane right now. He's trying to defend, of course, but the problem is that everybody on the side of the casuals is rotating towards that location as well. Here comes, on the other hand, now the full roster, except Tassadar, for the chips. They defend this, and now the Shrine is about to be active. 19 versus 18. I mean, ideally, of course, you would like to go for the level 20 first, but right now, this is the chance for both teams to really get a massive lead in this game right now. And in the case of Chips, if they get level 20 plus Punisher, they could go deep, especially since this one is going to pressure the bot lane. They could get a keep easily here.
Yeah, it's a really nice spawn for the Chips here, but also really good. It's a good spawn for both teams if they get it in the end. It's gonna be really decided by a fight. I don't see level 20 being gotten before the fight actually starts, but for now it looks like a little bit of a poke. We're trying to get a little bit of poke with Li Ming there, but the Apocalypse happening.
Uh-oh, Sonya! Nice ult on Vala's side, well played, but here comes that poison over. So much value, just look at these heroes. Leo is so incredibly low, palming himself as all good monks do. Juve is about to fall, oh my god. The casuals are all of a sudden far behind. The resets on Li Ming, the double kill as Sylvanas dies. This is level 20 now on top of all of it. This is amazing for the Chips. Great control, disciplined play on their part. The casuals, it's unbelievable. They are so far ahead thanks to the Sylvanas value in the early game. But in this fight, once again, we're seeing the Chips victorious. 7 kills against 1. They have the Punisher. They move to the bottom and they are going to go through this wall. They are playing a beastly game and they're definitely going to get at least the key.
Yeah, Chris Explosion with a really nice Apocalypse in the last fight, securing them a lot of space in the fight. And now the Punisher walking in, and it's gonna be a keep at least, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, this is definitely going to be at least one of them, if not more. 10 seconds until Sylvanas is bad. We are seeing Temporal Flux. We're having also a double Storm Shield at this point. Bolt of the Storm for Diablo and the Bone Spear taken for Zul. They're trying to go for core here even. Yeah, Punisher is already on the way in the middle. They go for Juve once again. They need to be careful here on the other hand, so they need to be very cautious. Once again, the kill this time against Li Ming though. And Zul is going to have his poison over in a moment, but the core is already being dropped. They're just going for the right click. Shiku already trying to take them down. It's not happening. This is going to be the 2-0. It's going to be the victory. The Chips qualify for Dreamhack Tour and take down Casual Logic Gaming. What a play. GG and congratulations to the Chips here. Well played.